I'm joined by my co host Lee Chandler here and a special guest, Sean Brooks.
Going.
Today, we'll be diving into Sean's journey, which includes his struggle with satanic influences and a serious medical scare. He'll share how he found hope and healing through his faith in God, which transformed his life in profound ways. I'm truly excited for you guys to hear his story. I hope you find it inspiring as well. It's good to meet you, Sean.
Make your team, man.
Hey, why don't you just introduce yourself to us and the world a little bit, our listeners and our viewers, just where you're from, what you do for an occupation, where you go to church right now, anything you want to share.
All right, my name is Chaun Brooks. I'm originally from Princeton, West Virginia. I have three children. I have two boys and one girl. I work at Conwell. I do a little bit welding. Uh, see, now I'm in the assembly department. I go to Church of Lifeline. Been going for like 2, 3 months now. I love it. Great service and great people.
What drew you to Lifeline? Did you know somebody that went there? I know you said you had a girlfriend you're really serious about. Was it her influence or did
It was
something about that church?
at the time, I was going, Baptist church because I think this is when I was like small, very small. I was young. My mom wanted us to go to church every Sunday, so we had church near the house, like not even 5 minutes away. And I go every Sunday, and became a Christian. I didn't become a Christian then. I just went to church every Sunday, and it was just. I think the service started around like 7 and ended at like maybe like 3 or 2 ish. Um, and then I kind of fell out at the Hour Church in a way. I was watching this one TV show called Headbangers Ball, and that's how I got starting the heavy metal like Lamb of God, Black Sabbath, Slayer. Start listening to more music of that, and then going to church. And then my mom was getting mad at me, was just like, what happened going to church every Sunday, and I kind of forgot about it.
Yeah.
So I kind of drew in the satanic stuff a little too early, but it wasn't, it didn't really come out. So um, it just, I think me personally, I just think the music, kind of took a toll on me in the early age. I thought that I was a rock star back in the day.
Yeah.
But it was kind of, being delusional. And yeah, I think once I was growing older and older, when I must forget my God, started getting like, more satanic stuff and more bands. I started buying T-shirts and Black Craft on this one website, like a lot of money. Started getting high, drinking every single day to the to to the way I can get drunk every day and to like being blacked out. So
Yeah.
with no
Jason, I think we're seeing a theme here.
Yeah, we
All
are.
the podcasts so far, there's been a struggle with alcohol, and that
Uh-huh.
oh,
it seems to be one of the biggest spiritual battles that all of us seem to face, or a good number of us.
I truly think, and people have their different opinions on this. I think the alcohol is kind of devilish in itself. Like I think it draws
Absolutely.
you. Me personally, I think it draws you farther away from where we were created to be with God than we're supposed to be.
absolutely. And I think what it all started when my father passed away because I was
Right.
going to church alive, and then it all started. He kind of passed away, and at the time was young. I didn't understand it at the time, but I just kind of felt drifting away from God.
Hmm.
And so I was just like, drinking to the where I just black out. I went from
Yeah.
drinking weed every day, staying out late with some friends that didn't really care about themselves. And,
Right.
come home, just say I leave the house about like 9 o'clock at night. And then I come back home like maybe 5 o'clock in the morning.
Woo,
Still,
that's a long night right there.
yeah,
That's a
it is.
heavy rock star right there.
That's a rock star right there.
Come in like 5 o'clock in the morning when my mom
Right.
just, hey man, what are you doing? Because I didn't have a job at the time. I'm just going out and about every weekend with some friends, for partying every single day. Smoking weed
Yeah.
every day. I come home at like either 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. Usually, what she tells me that she's like, hey man, I give you a time limit. Come back home around 12 o'clock, or I'm locking the door. I remember one day I kind of touched that three in the way. I was like, all right. I came home around like maybe 4 or 5 in the morning. All the doors was locked. The windows was locked. I was
Oh
sitting on the
no.
oh yeah, I was sitting on the porch looking like all crazy looking. I was like, oh man, this in the way. So from that point, when I through high, I think through middle school, I got into like punk rock bands. You know, before I got into heavy metal, I got a punk rock band like Good Charlotte, the Gorillas. See here, I think Red Hot Chili Peppers. It's like not like really heavy stuff, but you know,
I know a couple of those groups. I don't know none of them other ones you guys talk about.
You might not want to either.
I really don't, man. I'm telling you, music can take a toll on you.
Right.
I started dressing emo and whatnot. I had like three different personalities. My teacher was like, listen, just be yourself. Don't be three different personalities. Just be Chaun because people won't like if you just being three different personalities.
Yeah.
So I was just myself. Like I said, I was dressing emo, all black, whatnot. Listen to Good Charlotte, all these punk rock bands like Fall Out Boy, Simple Plan. Um, and then I went to the high school. I believe high school got even worse because I went back into partying and whatnot in high school. I remember I first tried marijuana, and I saw my buddy at the playground. He was doing something with a piece of paper, putting something in a piece of paper. And I said, hey man, what you doing? He just like, just hanging out. You want to try this? So I was like, yeah, I want to try it. Took one hit, and I thought I was hallucinating. So I went straight to the house, took my inhaler, dog. I was gone. I was like,
Yeah.
never, I'm not gonna smoke marijuana ever again. This is like
Ah,
when I was young. So and then I got into smoking cigarettes. And you know, they're all the same. Oh, it makes you look cool, whatnot. And I want to try it. So I took one puff of the cigarette, and then I immediately start coughing. I'm like, oh man, this tastes nasty. Bad breath, you know, broken teeth, and
right.
etc. Bad clothes, whatnot. So I started smoking cigarettes in middle school, and I didn't buy my first pack. I was just bumming, you know, just bumming cigarettes from people and whatnot. Until I could actually have like money in my pocket, like $20, to go get me some cigarettes or weed. So I had the option to get cigarettes or marijuana. But I always went from cigarettes. And then I think when I was a sophomore again in high school, I started smoking more weed. It got even worse. You know, I started buying it. I forget a lot of stuff. I didn't have responsibilities. Didn't have a job. Just
Yeah.
going out bumming from people that were smoking weed at the time. Um, and then through high school, like I said, it was worse. I think me personally, I was just kind of swayed from God away. I had him in the back seat. I was playing both parties. So I was playing, being satanic and being, holy, but you can't really play both parts as long as you can only
Uh-uh.
see God. And started listening. I went from punk rock to like heavy metal. This one band, Slayer, was one of them. Black Sabbath. I think there's another band I got in my mind. I think Cannibal Corpse. I love them because it's back in the '90s. Blame of God, and just the lyrics is just really like I say. I'm pretty sure rap music as well. I listen to rap, but rap music is just something else. Like you remember when the Travis Scott I think incident when he had that big concert. A lot of people died and whatnot. That was satanic because you could see the symbolism in his show and whatnot.
That
He
was the
even
rapper, wasn't it?
yes, that was the rapper.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think like 10, 11 people died. But you can see the symbolism at his shows and whatnot. People could like stepping over people and whatnot. They was trying to stop the show, but they wasn't really listening. Somebody got carried out of the crowd, but he like passed away while the show was going on. So you can see the symbolism in the music, like rap music especially, rock music, metal, all yeah, man, you name it, because the devil does play his
He
part
does.
in the music.
Yeah.
And it's just so appealing on different levels. A lot of those heavy metal lyrics, they're really intelligent and they just take you to another place. And a lot of times they're not outright rebellious. Now, some of them, they are outright sinister, and you can tell.
Oh
It
yeah,
just attacks you on all sorts of different levels, but you get drawn into that lifestyle. And something you kind of talked about, you think you can sit on the fence and play both sides. But you can't. God doesn't like that. The devil wants you to think that you can. The devil wants you to think you can do all this stuff, and He's not really worried as long as he's getting those hooks in you.
Absolutely. Like I was looking up to guys like I think Alistair Crowley, Anton LaVey. Anton LaVey is the founder of the Satanic Church, and I started looking more into him, like Freemasons, how they came into a cult. I wanted to start a satanic. Well, actually, I started a satanic Facebook group chat. Had all my friends. It was just really disgusting at the time. For me, when I started it, I wasn't thinking straight. Had
Right.
all this blasphemy, black metal. You just name it. I had like maybe 10, 12 people in my maybe no, I'm sorry, 14 people in my group chat at the time. It's like heavy metal, one on metalheads, one on just memes like Jesus Christ. Um, and then I want to start a band with one of my buddies. He's like, man, start a band again. I was like, all right, I write the lyrics, and whatnot. Now, mind you, this is when I work at Chili's. So I get off from work, I go in this little dark room, which is write lyrics. And I think my old lady found out the lyrics, and she was like, these lyrics are pretty dark. Seriously, these lyrics are pretty dark because
Yeah.
it was like at the point where there's no communication. I
Right.
like every time I get off from work, I don't communicate with her. It's just like roommates. You go, say you get off from work, you do the same thing you did yesterday, write lyrics, whatnot, repeat, write lyrics, repeat, smoke weed, and smoking weed takes a toll on you as well, and mess up your mind mentally because you think that you're doing something like just it kind of messes your mental health
Right.
in a way when you smoke weed 27, and that's good time.
It goes
Mhm.
with the music too sometimes. I think both of them involve opening up your mind to demons, and a lot of the music is about smoking weed, and smoking weed, you think you can enjoy some of that music more, so it all becomes a lifestyle.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because when I was smoking weed, I was listening to, and it makes the music sounds. Uh, to me personally, it sounds good when you smoke weed. You're like high, and you see all these ideas coming out, and then you just go into another rabbit hole after another rabbit hole about satanic stuff, more satanic imagery, and then like to me, when you get into it, it's just hard to get out of it. It's
Yeah.
really hard to get out of it. It's like mentally. Like,
Yeah.
when I started writing lyrics for this band, and I mind you, I was going to world school, going to work, and buddy was just like, can you buy all the instruments? Which is like, but at the time, I was the only person working, which is like, I can't even play an instrument. So, I mean, I was trying to like watch videos on like, how to play bass, guitar, and still write lyrics for the band. Um, we got on group chat one night, and then I think one of the members was maybe a little racist at the time. But like I said, I stood my ground. I heard what he had to say. He said something off made me off the wall, unprofessional, and I just kind of hung the phone up. My buddy was like, "What happened?" I was like, "I'm not going to get in a van with somebody that's racist. I'm sorry."
Right.
I was like, "I mean, if he has hate against black people, I mean, just keep that hate to yourself, you know."
Yeah.
And they wanted me just to basically write all the lyrics and but maybe trying to start studio time in a way. And like I said, my buddies didn't have a car at the time. I was the only person that's driving, working 24/7, going to school for wellness. So I was trying to do better for myself in the process of just writing lyrics for a band, and it's never going to happen. So I
Mhm.
basically just wasted my time on something that is really not going to happen. And I started getting into more satanic imagery. Um, People ask me like, "Man, you satanic?" And denial. Denial is one of them. Like, no, I'm not satanic. Man. I'm just golf. I'm just going with the flow. I'm not satanic. And you see with the clothing and like every year Halloween comes around, I put something satanic one night, like someone getting sacrificed. Facebook took that picture down, and then I put it back up, and then someone hit me in my inbox and like, man, what's this all about? What's going on with your head right now? I'm just sharing my personal thoughts and the freedom of speech in a way. So slowly I'll start losing friends, and I got into like I think witchcraft. I was trying to be like a witch, not a witch. I think a warlock. A
Yeah.
warlock. Um, Trying to study more about the Satanic Bible. I never had the Satanic Bible, but my buddy did across the street, and I looked pages after pages after pages one night, and I told him that was really interesting anyway. And I started listening to Ghost. Like Ghost is like more like a rock satanic band. So if you listen to the lyrics, well, it was really eerie. Um,
They're outright evil. They say that they're kind of like a joke or something like that, but their music is real catchy. I have to admit that I was listening to them right before I hit rock bottom. There was something appealing about just that music. It's easy to listen to. And even though I wanted to have a relationship with God, I let myself listen to what that guy was saying. I mean, it's outright evil stuff. I don't even want to get into what it talks about, but it's
yeah,
it's
real
bad news.
stuff. It's just watching videos about like witchcraft, anti Jack Parsons. He's the guy that did all the rockets and day, but at nighttime he was he was a Satanist. And he was trying to do like maybe some kind of rituals like Babylon. And I was kind of hooked on him, and anyway, I was like, this guy's really kind of interesting in a way when you know, person talk about satanic stuff. Then you have, I think Anton LaVey, he's like I said, former of he's the creator of the Satanic Church. I've never been to a Satanic Church. I mean, there's no around in Woodford, West Virginia or Virginia on Princeton. You have to go out somewhere like Los Angeles.
Right.
Uh, um, and I didn't really want to just crash out early because I just, didn't want really wasn't into it at the time. I was just doing my research on it. And then when I started buying like clothing from this one store online, Black Craft Cult, they had like so much blasphemy on the clothes. I spent like I ain't gonna lie to you, spent like over $200 because let alone all these clothing, the hoodies, the Baphomet hoodie, and whatnot. I was always wearing. I had a long sleeve shirt, had like had a pentagram, stars, the moon, and the sun, and like to say that you go to somewhere like a restaurant or whatnot, or you go to a friend's function, people will look at you funny, but they're not gonna say anything to you. In their point of view, their minds like, why is he wearing that? What happened to the old Sean that was in the Christianity, like good guy? And I had all these things running in my head like rage. You can't have rage. You can't have wrath, greed, lust. I think envy is one of them. And then mainly the thing I had was just like, wrath, because someone can make me mad and I can state in my head what I can do to this person, but you really, I mean, honestly, you can't really, think about wrath and greed. I was all about thinking about money, whatnot, money this, money that. How can I get fast money? And I thought about, selling out because you see celebrities nowadays in Hollywood that have
Yeah.
no soul. They really don't.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the Travis Scott incident, so you have other rappers that sold out and just pushing satanic imagery on maybe on the youth and whatnot. And it's
Yeah.
very sad to see it nowadays.
Yeah.
The, the Lord of Darkness has a way of making all that stuff look appealing. Like partway
Yeah,
through your story, you were saying that you weren't into Satan, you were just goth or whatever, but eventually you found yourself being drawn down a path where it became obvious that the evil influence was after you. And I think your whole story shows how it starts off a little slowly. It starts off with, and I'm not trying to put down any bands, but like Red Hot Chili Peppers, just that kind of stuff, and it can lead you down into heavier metal, and then that stuff will lead you down into wanting to dabble in witchcraft, and at some point you realize that it's outright evil. Now, did you still have a relationship with God at that point? I think to believe in the devil, you have to believe in God.
yeah,
That's what
So,
I was
like,
wondering. I was wondering that. Like, so when you, I don't know nothing about the satanic stuff, but like, so do you? How do you, when you're into something like that? How do you view God?
I like him. I view him as this. He was in the back seat. Just later, he was in the back seat, and I
Yeah.
was playing sides of the fence. I was like, say one day I'm using blasphemy, and the next day I'm just like, praising God. But like I said
Right.
before, I really play both sides of the fence.
Yeah.
And I remember like yesterday, I was asking my buddy at work. I was like, "Hey man, you want to play a Ouija board?" The Ouija board is really, really satanic because if you do it right, if you play at 3 a.m., you can open doors to hell, and you can open portals. You can just ask it questions. Um, where I see myself in the future. Um, But I never really played it because I asked my buddy to play. He's like, dude, I don't want nothing to do with that. I asked another person, I don't want nothing to do with that. Um, but I was into it really bad. I was going to get some few people to play it. Play on Halloween, Halloween night, which Halloween's the Devil's night, his birthday. I wanted to do that on Halloween. At 3 o'clock a.m., which is Devil's hour, and I just wanted to just test that theory, just kind of test the theories of if this is going to work, which is not going to work, or which is going to flop. I had a few people that wanted to play it, but at the same time, I never went through it. Something was telling me, "Big shot, don't do it." Myself now, I want to be a Freemason. Like Freemasons, like a secret cult and whatnot. I
Mm-hmm.
remember like yesterday, I got a message on Facebook by this one. It was just some random person. Um, but his Facebook profile was like the triangle with the all seeing eye. Asking about the brotherhood. He's asking me, hey man, you want to be part of the brotherhood? And then what's your name? What's your last name? And then he was just basically trying to get my information to me. I was trying to not. Well, I gave him my name, my last name, and then he was just like, so, what do you want to do in the brotherhood and Freemasons whatnot? And then I just told him to try and be a welder, one of the best welders I can be. And then something about we need all your information, where you live at, with your children's name, your old lady's name, because a Freemason I have to have everything, like where you live at, where you work at, so that way if you say something about the cult or not, they can just come up and talk to you, or do even worse things. Um, but like I said, deep down, something was telling me don't do it. I was at the edge of just wanting to do it, but at the same time, I didn't want to do it. Um, Back to the band, situation. I was telling my buddy, I was just like, how can we just put these lyrics out? He's like, man, I thought we was doing like a punk rock band. This is more satanic because that's what I was at the time I was pushing
Mm-hmm.
for satanic imagery, influence, just like anything that was satanic. That I was trying to push out when I was into the music, the lyrics, like Slayer, you have Slayer, and their symbolism. Black Sabbath's another band. I was trying to duplicate that into our band that we wanted to just push on nothing but satanic stuff, and it didn't fall through because, like I said, I was the only person that was working at the time, and they really wanted to like buy the instruments and keep
Right.
writing lyrics and whatnot, and then trying to find a studio to record, and so it didn't really think through and whatnot. But we did was talking about going over the lyrics, and he didn't like some of the lyrics and whatnot, and it was like maybe 15 tracks at the least. But we didn't start recording because we couldn't find anywhere to record the songs on there. I started like doing watching videos like satanic parties and like blasphemy, more blasphemy. I remember this one time, I think it was like maybe Father's Day. This one person in the group saying something about children being like maybe an orphanage one night. He said something under the lines that was really uncalled for. And then four people kind of left the group chat, and I just kind of left it pause. I didn't want to be a part of it anymore because I want to be like a peaceful, like satanic group. There's
Yep.
movies like on Hulu, like Hell Satan, like this one guy, like Lucian Grain. He wanted to put like a Baphomet statue in front of like can't remember, but he wanted a Baphomet statue because and I think not Ten Commandments, the something about like having like free religion, something like that. He wanted to like express his religion about being a Satan, open Satan.
I know they're trying to put up satanic statues in different cities and things like
Oh
that under
yeah,
the
that.
name of religious freedom.
And
Mm-hmm.
they're trying to push it in the schools as well. Look,
Yeah, they're trying to establish to where they can have meetings and things like that.
That's
oh
insane.
yeah, man, like it gets worse, man. And then see, the devil wants to brainwash the children because
Yeah.
they're kids. They don't know what they're watching. Like you have cartoons. Like I've been following a lot of
Yeah.
rabbit holes on Facebook. About the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And you have the I think the Pizzagate. What celebrities do. With children that eat children. So it's really really dark. And I was watching that. And then you got the Diddy trial where he got caught up with some stuff about being I think a pedophile and all this nasty stuff, man. It is crazy, like how people will sell out, sell their soul to the devil just to get money and fame. For me, I thought that was just all right. I was like, well, if these guys could do it, then so can I. I'm just like a guy that lives in like a local town. Because when I moved to Brewster, Virginia, I was just basically like me and my lady was not seeing eye to eye. I was talking to this one person, and she, and like I said, I mind you, she was a scammer. Came from Texas, didn't know who she was. We was talking one night, and then she was saying that her kid was not. I'm sorry. She was saying that she's from Los Angeles. Her mom died. She said her father passed away. No, her father passed away. Her mom's still living in Los Angeles. She lives in Texas with her sister. There's a bunch of this big story when I kind of fell through because mentally I kind of fell through in a way. I was just like I was kind of hearing her story, sending her money, and then my relationship was just like was kind of crashing down like slowly in a way. Small lady was telling me if you want to be with this person, you can be with it. But at the end of the day, you've been with me almost 13 years.
Yeah.
So mentally, I was trying to like destroy something that I built with this person with somebody I never met in my life.
Yeah.
Like we was talking on TikTok. Started at TikTok, then it went to Telegram, and then she came on asking me money, and I asked her multiple times, when can I talk to you over the phone? She said, well, I don't have Wi-Fi, but my sister has Wi-Fi. So well, that doesn't make any sense anyway. If you're
Yeah.
on, what I mean, it was kind of weary in a way. And I'll come
Mhm.
and ask her questions. I'll say, hey man, where do you work at? She's I do hair. I work in Texas. And then when I came into my senses, I called every place in Texas that does hair, and I said, we don't have this person named Donald Wilson. So, and honestly, he was a scammer. And I kind of felt bad in a way because I was getting ready to sacrifice my relationship to somebody that wasn't even real.
Yeah.
And my lady was praying for me when I was in the satanic stuff that bad. I'm talking about like, I'll put up satanic imagery on Facebook. She tell me to take it down. And this one meme on there I posted a long time ago. This woman and this child was in church praying, and she looks at him and was just like, he's not real. Stop praying to the visible man. And I thought that was funny at the time. And then people just like hit me on my Facebook say, "Why are you doing this? It's not even funny at all. Not even funny whatsoever." And I kind of ignored it in a way. And then I think back to the Ouija board situation. I was trying to get people to play with me so bad because I was wanting to see open doors to like maybe doors to where I could open and maybe close at the same time. I got into horror films like Carrie was one of them. Carrie's another horror film. Evil Dead, um, Hellraiser. There's a lot of movies like that I really enjoy, but it has some kind of satanic, you know, imagery that I kind of like in a way. I was kind of
Right.
going in because, like I said before, God is in the back seat, and I thought I could play both sides of the fence.
Mhm.
And I was kind of deluding it in a way. I was just like, I was wearing all satanic stuff. I wasn't telling myself I was a Satanist. I was in denial. I was like, well, like I said, I'm not a Satanist. I'm just God. I kept telling myself that in a way. Just kept telling myself that repeatedly in my head. And then I think one day my buddy came up to me at work was like, you gotta tell me you're a Satanist. There's no way you're a Satanist, man. I'm like, you can tell me anything out in the world, any excuse, you're a Satanist. You put blasphemy on Facebook or not, it's kind of disrespectful. I told him that, hey man, just being me. Like the music, when you smoke weed 24/7, it makes your mind up. I was doing it every day. I come home from work and I sit on the porch when I'm just smoking weed. I could be sitting there. I stay stuck for like maybe like 15, 20 minutes, just sitting on the porch, just listening to like heavy, heavy metal. And I thought, like I said, I thought I was a rock star at the time. When you got the welding, and then you got, smoking weed, and then you got the music, and you wanted to start like a band, but that doesn't really play out. Then you start like a satanic, maybe a Facebook chat, and you got all these people like following you in a way to where you thinking that you're leading a satanic cult. And
Mhm.
then and I thought that I could start a cult one night. I asked my buddy, he's a painter, right? Maybe you want to start a cult with me. He looks at me, he's like, no, I don't want to. And I was just like, why not? We could go to the Freemason lodge. I think they have a lodge in, I think, what's the what? I think Virginia, down here. near it's somewhere in Bluefield, Virginia. They have like a Freemason lodge, and I was gonna go
I'm
down
just so
there.
glad you didn't start wearing the welding mask and creating movies and music videos and having that as your name, welder. I'm just kind of kidding there. You certainly got some story. Um, were you justifying some of this stuff a little bit? Like it's just music, it's just a movie, it's just marijuana,
Yeah,
thinking it wasn't that bad because you're still trying to hold on to your relationship with God.
Yeah.
mhm. And like I
I
said,
think you were really I think what I'm taking from this though, from both sides of the fence where you tried to tell yourself you weren't a
mhm.
Satanist, I think it almost you had a little bit of fear in your brain, like, man, if I say I'm a Satanist, I think I've gone a little bit too far. I think I
I,
think I think you were
Yeah,
a little bit scared.
oh,
I
I mean,
think
I was
God was working on
like, but I mean, at the same time, I'm just telling myself I'm not the Satanist, but other people
Right.
around me. We go to like like my kids' football practices and stuff, and then my lady tells me don't wear any of that satanic crap. And mind you, I have like a lot of clothes that was like black craft clothes. I had like saw a lot of symbolism, like I think the pentagram. And there's a one band that I forgot to mention. It's called Cradle of Filth. Cradle of Filth is another band that has like satanic imagery all over. If you look at one of their songs and just like look at the lyrics and look at the music videos of Cradle of Filth, you was like, oh man, like this is this is kind of bad. But for me, I looked at that. It was kind of normal to like listen to it every single day.
Yeah.
Then you, and then you got the rap music, and the rap music is even worse. You got like people selling out, basically, just selling out just for fame and fortune and money. And at the end of the day, they're just like they're not happy inside. They have
Yeah.
no soul. They're not happy, and that's the end game of it. To me personally, I wanted to do that. Um, uh, I remember like one day I was working, like I mind you, it was a Saturday. Um, and we had to work. I mean, we didn't work long, but he told us we could leave at 9. I stopped welding, and then something, my whole body was kind of shut down. And I
Yeah.
was just like looking around, just like the last thing I heard was, well, "Hey man, we're leaving around 9:30." Well, that's fine on Saturday. So I left, got in my car, and couldn't smoke a cigarette because like something in my lungs was just kind of like trying to agitate me in a way. I couldn't really breathe as well. So I went home, and then I was getting sick, and I was laying on the couch one night, and I had to go to Med Express. Then I think my right arm, I think my right arm was in pain. My right leg was in pain. I was just like, why am I in pain so much, And then I kind of dusted off in a way, and then I told my old lady I need to go to Med Express. The lady in Med Express told me he needs to go to ER immediately. She didn't tell me what was going on. She just told me he needs to go to ER. I was trying to get like a work excuse for work the next day,
Mm-hmm.
and then my lady comes out in Med Express and just like, she wants me to take you to ER immediately. So I thought, all right, that's fine. Went to the ER. Now, mind you, I was so dehydrated that my shirt was so soaked. Like, it was so soaked to where I was just like, what's going on? I don't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
So, when I went to Blacksburg, I'm sorry, I went to, Bluefield over here by Bluefield West Virginia Hospital. I was all right, man. You got an option to go to any hospital you want because your insurance covered. You want to go to Blacksburg, Salem, Princeton. So I went to Blacksburg. Then I got to Blacksburg. The nurse was just like, all right, so you want us to save you or you want us to just let you go? I said, what's going on? You're not telling me what I want to know. And then she's like, you have staph infection. And right there, I didn't know what staph infection really, the definition of staph infection. I thought it was just some kind of like, maybe flu or something. My
Yeah.
white blood cells were just kept on just skyrocketing going up. And like the outside of my body, I was fine, but the inside of my body, I was dying slowly. And all I wanted to do was go home. Just kind of want to go home in a way. And I was in a hospital, and I think Blacksburg Hospital for like maybe a month and a half. And then she finally told me, she was, you need to stop telling people that you're going home if you're not going home. Like your white cells keep on going up. We have to go like in a surgery to get the infection out of your arm, your right arm. So they did in a way, but my margin, my right leg was still infected. It was still infected, but it missed that infection. So I went home, and I couldn't really extend my leg out one night. It was just where I couldn't really walk straight. I had to walk with my left leg, and then I was dragging my right leg behind it. So I was just in a lot of pain. I was just like emotional. I was just crying all the time. And I couldn't watch the movie without being in pain.
Yeah.
And the lady was going to come to my house when I see what I was doing, and then I was like, "Listen, I got to go back to the hospital. I can't do this anymore." And then she's like, "All right, that's fine." But this time with the Salem, Virginia, and he was just like, "Well, I'm sorry." When I was in Blacksburg, they told me I was gonna have a pig line tomorrow. I didn't know anything about this. Like I said, I was still in the loop by staff infection. He's like, "Well, come with," and this was come with me downstairs. So I went downstairs to sign some papers, and the doctor was like, the nurse was just like, "We're going to put a pig line on." Didn't know what a pig line was. Like I said, I'm still new to the staff infection. And I was like, "So what's pig line?" She's like, "Well, it's something that it goes deeper in your arm to your heart." And I was just freaking out. I don't want that in my heart. I'm scared.
Yeah, I would have been too.
Like I had no choice because I told him like I'm scared of needles as it is. I've been in a few MRIs. I had an MRI on my chest, my head, my legs, whatnot, and the doctor thought that the static factor came into my heart, which is just kind of sitting there. But I was trying to tell her that when I burned my hand, and then I didn't take care of myself at the time. And then I just, like I said before, I was into satanic stuff, hardcore, forgot who I was, didn't take care of myself at the time. And I saw my knuckle, it got infected, and I was like, maybe I just put alcohol on it, it'd be all right. Then later that, come down the road, um, I got staph infection. And I was just like, this is insane. I got a pig line in my arm in the hospital. I had an IV in my left arm. They wake me up maybe like every 5 o'clock in the morning taking blood, out of my arm. It was insane. It was a nightmare. So I was stuck in the hospital with 4 walls. Calling my old lady, see how she's doing. She's crying because she doesn't know what's going on because they're not telling anything.
Yeah.
And when I was in Salem, Virginia at the time, they were just basically just like, "Listen, man, I'm glad you came in the hospital like you did. You called it just in time." I called it the same time I called it into my arm, and it was just just in time. I was like, "All right." I kept on praying. I prayed every single day, and and with that being said, it's like it's not too late to be far gone to go back to God. But I was completely far gone. Like I was
Right.
trying to like start a satanic cult. I
Right.
was trying to like influence other people by like Satan is cool and whatnot in a way. If you could play both sides of the fence, I was telling myself that like you could play both sides of the fence and still look cool and still have friends whatnot. And it just like my buddy that I started band with, he got baptized, and I didn't see it coming because he was just like, "Listen, man." I talked to him on Facebook Messenger and whatnot. He's like, "I got saved, I'm into God now," and then I was happy in the way for him.
Yeah.
But in a way, I was kind of jealous.
Right.
I was jealous in a way because you can't be jealous of other people. Like I said, jealousy, rage, greed, lust. I think envy is one of them. And overall, I was basically jealous of other people. But somebody, say that somebody got a promotion on their job, I'm gonna like get all jealous and get all mad with the fact that it wasn't me.
Yeah.
And say someone like say that someone made you mad at work, and then you can just look at them and it's be like all rage and wrath, whatnot, what you could do to them in your head. And you can't
Yeah.
really do that. I wasn't a greatest state of mind at the time. I was
Right.
just thinking like myself, like at the end of the day. And my old lady was just like I'm praying for you every day. She I don't want to marry somebody that's in this satanic stuff because she's Pentecostal. She's been in Pentecostal since she was little,
Right.
and I was a Baptist at the time. And then I stopped going to church, and I want to get in church again, but I never really didn't make that call, like, that final call. I was thinking about it, but I didn't make that opportunity to go back to the church. So I was still in the loop of being Satanist when I listened to like this bad music that mess with your mental health. Witchcraft took a toll of it all. I thought I was a warlock. I want to be a warlock, which is opposite of witch. It's just like
Yeah.
the Holy Spirit, but opposite. Like because once you get into the satanic stuff, it's hard to get out of it. It's hard to tell yourself this is not me at all. But then when I
Yeah.
was in the hospital, it kind of scared me in a way. I
Yeah.
was praying every single day before bed. I kept praying every day. And when after the surgery in Salem, The nurse walks in, and he works in mysterious ways. She walks in, she was like, "Well, Mr. Brooks, the infection's out of your body. Your white cells have white blood cells went down a lot. We get to see how you do on recovery, and you get to go home with your family." I was
That's
so
crazy.
I was so happy, man. Dude, I was in tears. I was watching Martin while I was crying at the same time,
Yeah.
and I was just like, I was so relieved because I was scared in a way. Like you said, I was scared because I was
Yeah.
scared to admit that I was a Satanist.
Yeah.
Other people around me already knew about it. I was like, this guy's a Satanist. Why is he wearing all this black crap called the heavy metal? I went from listening to heavy metal to death metal. And then my buddy was trying to get me to listen to black metal. And I was just like, I'm really not into black metal like that. But I was
Right.
into like death metal at the time. And then the way I was dressed and the way I was acting, the way I was talking to people, bad attitude all the time, waking up all hateful. That was just the devil. Like, he wants to destroy you so bad to the where that there's going back mentally.
Yeah.
And I went home and I was sitting in the chair one night, and like I said, I was smoking weed every day, and then to the point where I got tired of it, and it was getting old to where I could smoke weed, and then I'll fall asleep around like maybe 9 o'clock, and then it was just like this ain't me anymore. This is getting old. And so I quit smoking weed. It's been 5 months since I quit smoking weed.
Yeah.
Um, I haven't really touched any alcohol at all. I haven't had any thought of drinking alcohol. I'll go to the gas station to get me like a Red Bull or something or a Monster, and I was kind of look at it and I was like, hey man, I don't need that. And then continue my day because it's a mental thing. It's like smoking cigarettes. It's like it's a mental thing. You can break that.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is find something to replace it.
Yeah.
And so like I said, I quit smoking weed. This has been like 5 months, and I've had the urge to want to go back to smoking weed because I have some goals that I really want to hit. I
Right.
think I told you this about going in the army. Like when I talked to the recruiter in Princeton, I was like, "Hey man, do you take guys like 33?" He was like, "Dude, don't feel bad, man. I listened when I was 29." I was like, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, we was talking, whatnot." Took the ASVAB test for the first time. The first time, because like I said, this is the first time I ever did like schoolwork in a long time, like math,
Yeah.
general science, all that. My practice test I made 3. Then I was telling myself, you just keep working on it, just keep working. I went from a 3 to a 9, and then I went from a 9 to 17 to a 20. So he told me if I get a 21, you could take the actual ASVAB. Well, all right. And like I said, I've been studying a lot. I have like maybe a lot of notes, whatnot that I've been studying on the website, just trying to get in the army because I use the army as like, hey, I completely quit smoking weed. I want to use something that I know that I want to do better in life because I actually want to do better. I have 3 children. My kids look up to me anyway. That's another reason why I quit all that satanic bullcrap because
Yeah.
they look up to me in a way. They ask mommy why she doing this, and then my lady tells me that they look up to you. You kind of got to put like a halt to the satanic stuff. So I did. Like I said, I went home thinking about this. Like I thought about getting baptized. So I reached out to my buddy T.J. Connor. We've been friends for a very long time. Called him. I was like, hey man, I think about getting baptized. Signed up for being baptized. My little girl got baptized as well. Told my recruiter, and I was just like, I told him, I was like, hey man, is there any way you can turn my baptism? He was just like, no promise made, whatever. We'll see what I'm doing on that day. Then I'll show up, and then the next, I think that it was a weekend. It was Saturday. He contacted me. He was like, hey man, I'm coming to your baptism. Tell me what time it starts. So he went out there and watched me got baptized. Me and I think my little girl. And then from there, I was just, I was brand new. I could just start over again.
Yeah. I seen your baptism.
I thought that, I thought it was too late.
Yeah.
But I was so far gone into the satanic stuff that I forgot who I was in a way as a person. And like I said, like the tension, like wanting to go and start like a cult. Something deep down was telling me, don't do that. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Something was telling me, don't do that. Something was telling me that saying that I was afraid that I say I was a Satanist or not, but I was afraid to say it out loud. I was thinking about it, but I was afraid to say it out loud. Something
Yeah.
was telling me like just you need to like change your religion up a little bit.
Right.
Just put me in the direct path. Like I said when I was younger, I was partying every single day. Um, but I feel like God was watching me when I was young, but I didn't know at the time. Like my father passed away when I was young age, whatnot, and at the time I didn't take it like well, I mean, I took it seriously, but I couldn't understand it in a way because after he
Yeah.
passed, it just kind of went down here in my religion.
Did
Um,
you blame God for your father dying at a young age?
at a young age, I did,
Yeah.
and then like maybe when I was getting older at the time, and I was just thinking it kind of hits a little home in a way because you got Father's Day coming up like Sunday,
Oh yeah.
and it kind of hits me a little different, when like I wish he was here. If he was still alive, if he was still alive to this day, I wouldn't be into the whole satanic stuff.
That,
Like I
and that's what I was getting at. I just wondered if that had any effect on what you got involved in your life there.
I just wish that he was still alive. I mean, if he was still
Yeah.
alive, he could have stopped me from going to parties. He could stop me from like, I mean, trying not to. He probably tell me don't smoke weed. Give me some like, hey man, don't do this. I mean, it makes you look bad in a way when you smoke weed every day. You think it's cool, you listen to music, and then you got people around you that don't smoke weed. And like, hey man, it's kind of getting old, because once you do it every single day, you think it's like a normal thing, and then when you see people around you and just like this guy's really smoking weed every single day. Like how can I mean you got and it all adds up at the end of the day. Same way with alcohol. You can go to the store, you can go to the store every day and buy like maybe a Corona, maybe a 12 pack, 24 pack. That adds up at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Yeah, that's you have a good story, man. But you know, even your bad experiences help you when you have good experiences because you know what you came from. You know what you got past, and you know what God brought you through. Um, yeah, I love your story, man.
I appreciate it.
That's some big stuff.
I mean, like you said, man, I was so far gone to where like I thought I was doing something. I thought that, I think my rock bottom was having sacrifice because, I was working so hard or something. And then when I burned my hand and then it got affected and I thought I could just put rubber alcohol on and, go on
Yeah,
my face. And I had all this built up rage and anger at people one night and getting jealous at someone getting, they say they're getting raised one night. I get jealous of that. But I work hard too for the work every single day. But, and just and then putting blasphemy on Facebook and people don't see some people see it on Facebook but they're not going to say anything. They're just like they're
right.
thinking, why is he doing this one night? And I had apologized to my friend a long time ago. It was like Halloween night. I said something about it was really unholy and then he messaged me. He's like, hey man, what was the need for that? And I told him about my beliefs in religion. He kind of unfriended me in a way because we've been friends for a very long time.
Yeah,
And he was just like, "Hey man, I'm gonna pray for you, man. You need Jesus." Like I remember one day I was working at Chili's and I played a Black Sabbath song. It was called God. I think it's. I'm trying to get the song. It's called "God Is Dead." And this one work coworker was just like, "You need Jesus." I thought she was playing around. I thought it was just like a joke one night, but she was dead in my eyes because I kept playing it every single day. But I'll lead up to like listen to Lamb of God, and then it went from Lamb of God to Avenged Sevenfold to like Behemoth, and then it goes in Black Sabbath, and then I'll just straight play this metal all day long over the shift or not.
yeah,
My supervisor at the time, he didn't really care what I listened to at the time. But I did play a lot of Travis Scott. I still listen to this day, but I'm not influenced like as like I kind of idolize him as a god because you can't call yourself a god. That's another sin in a way. You can't
yeah,
really say I'm a god and like Kanye West, he calls himself a god, but I don't really look up to him as a god because I know who my true I'm not. Well, I know who's my father at the end of the day. I know
yeah,
God's real, and I know for a fact that none of these celebrities are gods. They're just soulless people walking around Hollywood every single day.
yeah. I think that your leg and stuff like that, your infection. I think that was more of your awakening than your
Oh
rock
yeah,
bottom. I think that was your awakening. Um, and that was God just saying, "Hey, I just want to let you know that I'm more powerful than this stuff you're involved with. and I'm gonna prove it right now.
Yeah, yeah, it's scary. I told my my silly wife. I told her on the phone. I was like, I want to get baptized. This is like, talks of it. I'm in the hospital.
Yeah,
So I'm praying every day. She's crying because it's been like weeks and weeks go into months went on, and I'm still in the hospital and I'm in my nightgown. I'm depressed as it is because, like I said, I'm staring at I'm on four walls, looking at a TV that has no sound, not getting like a straight up answer to any doctors because I'm asking doctors what's going on when I can go home. I went from like three different doctors, maybe four different doctors when I was in Blacksburg Hospital, and
yeah,
they were just telling me that you have some infections gonna be in here for a while till you get better. But I felt like you said I felt better outside of my body. I was like, 'cause my whole body outside and whatnot was just I was not sick, but inside I was dying. I could feel where my insides was just like dying slowly. Like
yeah,
I couldn't really sleep at night sometimes when I was in the hospital. I was just I was so depressed to eat. I
yeah,
remember one day, I asked the nurse when I could go home, I had my street clothes on one night, and she was like, "He's not going home." Then I got dinner, and I didn't even touch my supper at all. I just left it on the side on the tray one night, and the nurse came up to me and was like, "Hey, man, the food's pretty good here." That's not the point, though. I was like, "The point is that I want to go home with the family." And I'm like, I'm so depressed at this time. I didn't want to eat,
yeah,
so all I did was I had my music and I prayed every day. Like he works in mysterious ways. Like I work
he
for some
does.
people. I work with some people that don't believe in God, and now when I'm baptized, Christian, and sometimes I think, well, all the time I thank God every morning, and I pray every night before I go to bed. I pray for the people that I don't talk to every day. I pray for people that's fighting, I think mental health issues, or I don't talk people that I don't talk to on a daily basis. My
Yeah,
enemies, because I learned to forgive people. At the time, I did forgive people. I had that grudge. It's like someone did something a long time ago, or someone did to me at work. I try to hold that grudge in a way. I just kind of don't like you.
yeah,
But in a way, it's just like something small like that. You can't really hold grudges, with people, because life
yeah,
is way too. Like I said, me personally, life is too short to hold
yeah. It
grudges.
is.
It's really short because you never know. Tomorrow's not promised. You never know what's going. Your last day is gonna be on Earth. And it'd be too late to apologize to that person.
Yeah,
So
yeah. You're right.
at the time, I was just holding grudges against people. Like I think this one person made me mad one day over something small, and I kind of went off on him. And I started going to therapy. My therapist went off. I talked to my therapist. I was telling them that all satanic stuff, and people would start getting mad at me. He just basically told me that there's just freedom to speak. It wasn't the answer that I was looking for. I was just telling my
Right.
personal problems, and at the same time, and people was freedom of speech is be you. At the end of the day, that wasn't me. It was somebody else that I was really disgusted at the time. Like just listening to heavy metal, smoking weed every day. You think smoking weed is a normal thing. You get off from work, you smoke weed. You get off from work, you smoke weed, and all that money ends up at the end of the day. Same way with alcohol.
Yeah,
So I wasn't really thinking straight. I didn't think, like, well, this is normal. I'm not gonna pay any consequences, whatnot. And then when I got sick in the hospital, that was my awakening. God was telling me, hey man, I'm let you know I'm real, man. I work in mysterious ways,
yeah,
but this right here has to stop.
yeah,
And when I got baptized, man, after the baptism, I felt the enemy come on, come at me, I would call it temptation anyway. All the stuff that I used to do coming at stronger at me, coming at me hard every single day. But I just pray.
yeah,
I go
yeah.
to like a quiet room somewhere, or I just pray.
Well, that statement right there kind of leads me into my first question I had for you, and that was, how does your faith influence your everyday decisions and how you interact with other people?
My well, see, when I was talking to people, I like okay, my buddy doesn't believe in God, and
Right.
his story is he fell off the balcony. He fell off the balcony, and this guy saved his life. I was like, hey man, you gotta be thanking God every single day. I mean, it could even be worse. Well, the
Mm,
bad one, he fell off the balcony. Um, this man saved his life, and I thought that that right there is a work of God. this man, his wife got saved. He was telling me that, man, that was some random guy. Like, no, that wasn't no some random guy. Like, that was somebody that God's telling you that your time is not up this yet.
Yeah.
But we and him getting in arguments all about religion all the time, and I just kind of left it at that. We're still friends. I'm not judging him for him, like, for not believing God whatsoever.
Right.
Like, back when I was, like, being a Satanist, I was kind of judging people, like Christians, when I listened to, like, different, like, say that Easter Day. I've been like, well, it was Easter Day, one matter of fact. I was just listening to Black Sabbath, had my speaker just listening to black metal. But like I said, in someone's point of view, they're looking at you like, if this guy lost his mind. It's like, Easter Day is God's day. And I wasn't thinking at the time. But your question, me, personally, I let people know, like, hey, man, I'll tell them my side of my story. Just like, this is what
Yeah.
happened to me. I didn't believe it. I had God in the back seat, and I thought I could take both sides of the fence one night. And I was in denial in a way, and I just want to let them know, like, hey, man, it's not too late to go to God. It's really not
Right.
too late. He asked for
No.
forgiveness. He will forgive you. Um, I saw it in my Bible. Right now I'm on Genesis. I'm at Cain and Abel. I stopped at Cain and Abel right now because Genesis is where he created the earth, the water. And I started reading my Bible a little bit more. At the time, I wasn't reading my Bible at all. I wasn't reading my Bible at all when I was a Satanist. I was just kind of ignoring the fact that I was afraid that to say that he wasn't real, but at the same time he was
Yeah.
real.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's what I would. Yeah. That would be a scary thing to, to proclaim that God wasn't real. But I've never told this part of my story. I've said that in my life, like, and he proved to me in different ways that he was real, not in the way he proved to you, but like he has his way of showing you that he is real.
absolutely, man. And like in my daily life, man, basically, I pray every day, even if I'm in like I have a bad day or something's not going my way. I just stop and pray. I go somewhere quiet and I just pray to
Yeah.
myself, and he works in mysterious ways.
Uh, do you got any questions there, Lee?
Proverbs 22:6 says something like, train up a child the way he should go, and when he is older, he will not depart from it. So, I'm just tying that verse into how you were brought up in the church. You went to some Baptist churches as a youth, and do you think that was pretty important and instrumental in where you are now, how you were able to turn around to God? Do you think that being brought up in the church made it easier for you to kind of turn the direction you needed to go now?
Absolutely. I feel like growing up, because I think all my family members are Christian. My aunt's a Christian, my mom's a Christian, and she wanted me to be like, hey, we're gonna go start going to church. Cause say I was adopted like when I was 2 months. I think when I was little, and then when I grew up in a household, she was telling me that we're gonna start going to church. This is when she waited till I was growing up a little bit.
Yeah.
Going to church and I was introduced to God in an early age. Now, if I didn't go to church every single day, let's say that a different scenario, if I didn't go to church every single day and I was going to the different direction, like more the satanic lifestyle or whatnot, then I feel like, he would probably still save my life in a way because I'll probably find my way to God. Because, like I said, it's not too late to, when you fall gone, it's not too late to ask forgiveness. Just pray forgiveness and whatnot. There's some days that I don't have that temptation of going back and listening to some tank stuff. I get all my shirts away to my buddy that I work with because I don't need him anymore.
Yeah.
The moment that I knew that I was gonna get baptized and everything falling through, I gave all my stuff away, all the stuff that dealing with satanic stuff because it was ready to give it up. I was still last on it, but at the end of the day, I was thinking like I don't need the stuff anymore. I deleted that group chat. Um, I kind of logged out of it. My buddy was like, "Hey, man, what's going on with you?" Because right now it was at 4 members, and I was the guy that created the group. Sorry, kind of created the group chat in a way. But he hit me up on Facebook and said, "Hey, man, what's going on?" And I was telling him, I'm just like, "Man, I'm fine, man. You know, everything is normal. And some people, when I tell people I got baptized, they didn't. I mean, I mean, it's no phase at all. There's like, oh, I honestly don't care. I was like, wow. I mean, I didn't really get in an argument with these people. I was just like, well, I kind of say to myself in the way I asked for God to forgive me all the stuff that I did in my past, the drinking, smoking weed, me being jealous of other people, the rage, and I asked him for forgiveness.
It was
And I
big. It was a big event for you, like baptism, and other people don't. They don't see it unless they go through it. Like when you get baptized, you feel right then and there that everything you did wrong up to that point is washed away. Like it's washed away, and it's a
I
big deal for you.
and back to Lee Chandler's question, like when I was growing up in the church in early age, like I felt happy. I loved going to church every single Sunday with my family. Like it wasn't like it was like a 5 minutes a walk from the church, and I was excited. Every time it was like Saturday on the weekend, it'd be Saturday, and I knew that I was so excited to go to church because I go to Sunday school, and then I go to service, and then I like to hear the word of God, and I was very excited. And then the moment when my father passed away, I think I felt like it kind of just man turned on his own.
Yeah,
I was starting stealing money from my mom, and then she called me one night, and I got in trouble with that stealing, and she uh, she got mad at me, but she was a little disappointed. Like, why are you doing this? Because I just bought I bought ice cream for everybody. This is middle school. I stole $100 and bought everyone an ice cream. It was ice cream day, and then I paid the consequences. My mom was like, "When you get home, I'm whooping your tail." I was like, "Oh man, it's no good." But like I said, I was young at the time. I was young.
yeah,
I didn't make the right decisions. And like I just felt like if my father was still alive, I wouldn't be making the bad decisions that I did back in the day.
yeah. I could see where you could think that if your father was still, at the time with you, that it would have deterred you from making those decisions. Did you have any other questions, Lee?
I've always considered myself an extreme kind of person, and in a lot of ways, I must admit your story's even more extreme than mine because I never really tried to promote Satanism or anything like that. But I think God's had His hand on your life. I think you were being brought up in the church and you were going in a good direction, and the devil sent every force he could to try to get you in the other way. But God uses stories like that. Um, Genesis 50:20, what the devil meant for evil, God turns it around. So you're going to get to that as you read Genesis, the story of Joseph. But
Okay.
I think God uses extreme people because He knows that people like you who were going extreme for anything but God, once you get on fire for God and make the determination that you're going to live for Him, you can really have an impact because you were having an image and displaying some of these other passions you had. Now that you're going in the direction of God, I think that you're going to be a really good influence.
Yeah,
I'd like to see you and I don't know if this is a question. It's just like a talking point. The lyrics. I'd like to see you write some lyrics that reflect your newfound faith or
yeah,
your changed direction. You can still go in that direction. I'm the same way. I play guitar. I haven't played in a while because I kind of lost my passion. But you never know. We might be playing together someday or something like that. So
yeah,
I think God can use people like us who did everything else to the extreme except for giving him the chance that he needed. So I'm really glad to be able to hear your story today. I wanted to interject a little bit, but we just had to let you roll with it. You had a
yeah,
big
yeah,
story to tell.
Yeah, man. Just I just felt like when I went to the wrong path, like this, like I said before, like you don't know when you're doing wrong until you actually see your bad mistakes in life. Like just listening to like music that like, I thought it was good, and like just watching endless videos on like satanic stuff, and I was staying up half the night just trying to figure out like like sex magic's one of them. Um, but I never really got into that. I was trying to lead up to that, and then if I didn't really get to say didn't get to say anything like that, I was going to purchase a statue, and then after that point one day, I'm pretty sure the already crashed out already. But at the end of the day, something was telling me deep down, do not do this. I wanted to get a statue of the satanic statue, but something is telling me don't do it. Don't do it at all. And I didn't do it. I was thinking about it, but I didn't make that final decision if I want to do it or not.
Yeah.
But I felt
Has that
like God.
stuff I'm sorry. Has that stuff totally lost its appeal to you, or do you think you still might be tempted here and there? You know, you have people reaching out to you, and the music's hard to stop listening to altogether sometimes. So the devil wants to still find his way in. So do you see yourself having to have that battle?
A little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you, a little bit, but at the end of the day, where I'm at now to then, I'm like, I really don't need it. It is. I wore a lot of band T-shirts like Slayer. I had my
Good
Black
stuff.
Sabbath shirt I had for a very long time. I kind of ripped up because I already had a hole in the back of it, so I was just like, I'm not gonna need it anyway. Um,
That's a good show.
um, I wanted to get some more clothing from maybe Lifeline shirts. 'Cause I have one shirt and I have one hoodie from them. So I
Yeah.
wanted to start like I want to start somewhere like fresh, get clothing lines. Like somewhere like something a positive message and whatnot.
Yeah.
Say I'm going out with my family and they see a Lifeline shirt and whatnot. I want them to understand, hey man, like this is a positive message one I want to give out. This is why I feel. This is what I want to represent.
Yeah.
I
So you
think
sound
James
like me
Franco
with the
needs to sell
clothes.
shirts now.
Yeah, you sound like me with the clothes. Like when you see me, if you see me out in public, like I'm a very loud Christian. Like you're going to know just by the shirt I have on that I love God. I love Jesus and that's who I follow. And so I like that about the Lifeline shirts with you. And I did have something that I had some questions wrote down here and Lee's conversation with you there about how you could still pursue music and write, Christian lyrics about your faith and stuff like that, leads me to a question I had on here is what are your hopes and goals for the future in terms of your faith and how do you want to grow spiritually?
Me, well, one day when I start to say that I retire from all this, maybe from production work, because I have plans of going to the army, and when I talk to my recruiter this, he's like, religion in the army is really they take it really seriously.
I
You
did it.
know, you did it.
Yeah, I was 17 years old when I went in.
That's good.
Yeah.
And I was told about my goals when I because he was just like, dude, you're improving every single day and studying. What I mean, just there's no like no but me personally there's no giving up at all. I don't really give up. It's to say that I want something I really desire and want. I don't give up at all. I try to strive for it and try keep trying and trying and to where say that I retire and make some maybe get some money when I just wanted to tell people that it's not too late to turn to God, man. Like, go to church, start reading your Bible, stay positive, be around people that want you around, and be around
Mhm.
people that tell you straight up, hey man, don't you think this is a little too extreme? Because people I was hanging out with didn't really care what I was doing. Like
Right.
I had friends that didn't believe in God. I had friends that was like kind of just questioning God's work. And I was in the middle of it. I was telling them basically I'm just just playing folks out to the fence or whatnot. And my mom is just always telling me that you can't really do that. You got to take one side or the other because Satan likes to destroy people mentally, like to where that you don't think that it's not too late to go back and talk to God and pray to Him. I talk to Him every time. I pray every single day. I go to bed because I want Him to watch over me and my family and watch me when I go to work and come back from work and watch his kids when I go to school and because the devil's everywhere. He's
Oh yeah.
everywhere. And it's bad, man. Like, and temptation, going back to it, like I said, when I was back then and am now, I think of it, I thought it was stupid. And me personally, I got some new influences since one on. God is one of them. You know, there's a lot of Christian bands that I got into, like August Burns Red, the Christian metal band. You got Skillet. Um, start listening to more Christian music more than I am listening to heavy metal. I mean, I'm still a fan of heavy metal, but I'm not influenced like I was before. And I just want to make a change in my life. And then I think, me after the baptism, the enemy's been coming at me very strong lately, for my temptation. of the stuff I used to do. And like I said, I'm not the person that you throw my hands up and give up so easily, you know.
Yeah.
And I know that he's watching over me. And honestly, I'm ready for him to come back. You know,
Yeah.
I'm ready for us to come back because right now, when we're in scary times right now, I hate to talk about this out loud. We're in scary times, like with the war going on with Israel and Iran and whatnot, that they're talking about nuclear weapons, and like we got children that's young, don't need to be hearing all this. And
Yeah.
I'm kind of scared for them in a way in the future because the draft may come back, and I kind of don't want my kids to be in the draft. They're way too young to be understanding, and I feel like Jesus is gonna come back soon. The trumpets is gonna sound, and then I think it's be time to go home, go to
Yeah.
heaven.
I believe that too. I believe the time's coming and it's coming soon. I really do believe that. At least
That
we're
was,
ready.
yeah,
At least us three, at least we know we're ready.
absolutely. That's why I'm more happy about this. At the time, I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking like, my downfall was something to say that if I was still in the satanic stuff. And deep down, I didn't want to say this out loud. It's like, man, I always told myself this. Like, I really don't want to go to hell. That's one place I don't want to go is hell because hell is like the most like hottest place ever. Lost souls go down there, and I just don't want to meet the devil in person. I just want to
Yeah.
be somewhere I can just live internally with my family, have my family ready for Jesus Christ to come back,
Yeah.
and just be ready for His return. Some people are some people are afraid to talk about that, But
Yeah.
me personally, I kind of like talking about it in a way. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah. Your
At
stories.
some point, you realize that it's becoming a relationship with God. I never wanted to go to hell. I used to pray, just to go to heaven. But instead of the fear of hell, sometimes it's more like just wanting to be with God and making Him happy, and not wanting to hurt His feelings, and letting every decision you make from here out just let it reflect how you want it to affect God.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Like I was scared for a little bit. I was just like, the consequences behind my actions, with the blasphemy with the rage and jealousy and envy and all this whatnot. Just thinking about I didn't never thought about the consequences until it actually hit me at work. Because at the time when I was at work, when it kind of hit me when I got sick, because I was just like, it could be some kind of flu, it can be something. I at the time did not take care of myself whatsoever. After I burned my hands. I think it was my knuckles. Um, it started getting infected, and I just didn't take care of it. I stopped caring about myself. Me and my whole lady kind of we didn't really see eye to eye every day because I was into the satanic stuff. And every year Halloween comes around, I always put something demonic and really sinister on Facebook, and I'll start and slowly I lost friends over it, and I didn't really see it till the time I took my friend list. The person say something, let's say this person said something on my ass on Facebook. I go on his profile, we're no friends, and it's sad. Like, to lose friends and to see that your friends see you like, well, this guy, whether he could have changed about himself, why is he going this direction? Who is he mad at? I mean, those are questions that people want to ask you, but they don't ask it. They're scared to ask it because they might get a negative feedback.
Yeah.
Well, you got some new friends today.
Absolutely.
We thank you for coming on here and sharing your story. I firmly believe that you're going to be able to reach some people that some others of us might not be able to. Each one of
Yeah.
us has been through something that helps us relate to somebody else. So even if it's just you saying, striking up a conversation. I know about that band or something like that. You can talk about it and lead them into a conversation about your relationship with the Lord Jesus.
Because to honestly, man, I want to influence people like, hey, man, just say that the same story I had, it could be a different story. I just want to talk to them if they're going through a tough time and just like, don't give up. Just don't give up on God. Don't put them on the back seat. Just, trying to renew your relationship with God. Just start going to church. Talk to somebody. Talk to your local pastor. Talk to some friends that's in positive. Send a positive vibes. Don't hang out with people, being negative all the time. Because that's not going to get you anywhere. That's where I was at. I was hanging
Right.
out with people with negative vibes. Saying the GD word, whatnot, and I don't say that word anymore. Like, I used to say that every day. It was just a constant thing, saying GD this, GD that, and I kind of stopped myself from saying it. I replaced it with saying good morning or good afternoon when I get mad, swearing all the time. But I like to like kind of influence other people. Just like just don't give up on God because there's a lot of people that they want to go to God and they just like man, I try to pray to God, but nothing works. So you gotta be patient. He works in mysterious ways. You cannot get up on. I mean, I actually didn't. When I was young when I got staff infection, I did not give up on God whatsoever. He was right by my side. I felt like when I was young, getting in trouble partying, he was watching me, but I didn't know at the time. Like when I got in trouble with the boss, now mind you, I never got arrested until I was hanging out with the wrong people when I was younger. And every time I get arrested, I always get let off with a warning. I was just like, why is that? And second time when not, we got arrested by Church of God, and it was like, long story short, when not, this cop was just like, I know this kid, man. He's not a troublemaker. I know his mother. He's a good guy. And I went home the next day, and after that, I was just thinking, like, God's really watching me. It could have been like the situation could have been even worse. I could have got arrested, went to like jail, whatnot. But I felt like He was watching me the whole time when I was, very small. And I
Right.
thank Him every single day.
Yeah, God's always by our side through our whole life. I have an outtake from your story here.
Yes,
Um, I think that God really walked the talk when it comes to your story. Because what
yes,
does God command us to do with our enemies in the Bible? He tells us to love them,
mm-hmm,
love your enemies. And I
exactly.
would assume, like I said, I don't know a whole lot about the satanic stuff, but I would assume that if you're into satanic stuff, you're against God. Even though you don't want to admit it, you are. And God, when you said that prayer and you started praying, He walked the talk. He said, you know what? He's enemies with me right now, but I'm still gonna love him and I'm gonna show him my power. Like I love your story, and that's my outtake from it. Is he walked the talk with you? He said, you know what? I tell them to love their enemies. I'm gonna love mine, and I'm gonna bring them back home. I think that's what he did with you.
And like I said, man, I was scared. I ain't gonna lie to you, I was scared. I was, very scared when I was in the hospital because I thought that my last day on this earth was just me being like, negative as a negative person. And when I prayed to him, when I was in the hospital, when I prayed, I was like, man, please forgive me, but he's a person that forgives people. And I just prayed to him every day when I was in the hospital, like, just please forgive me. And there was a man across the road from me, not the road, a room from me. He was blind. I prayed for him as well. I didn't know this person personally. He was in the hospital with me. He was in the other room. He was blind, and and I think I kind of walked over there and see how he was doing because there was a chapel in the hospital in St. Louis. I walked over there and prayed for him and myself, and then I read the note on his door that said, if you coming in, please kind of just say your name, your last name, because he's blind.
Yeah,
And he was in pain one night. He was in a lot of pain. He was screaming at night. I mean, there was some nights I could hear him scream. And usually at nighttime, I walk over, to the chapel, which is across right next to my room. And I pray for him. I pray for him and myself, and he works in mysterious ways, man. He
yeah.
really does.
Oh yeah. I also wanted to bring up a point you brought in your story at one point. You brought up that I think you were in a chat, like a group chat with, and you faced some racism. You said you had a guy
Yes.
that brought up racism, and I've never understood racism, especially if you believe in God, which I don't think the guy you were talking to at the time, I don't think he believed in God. I don't know, but
Uh, it was okay. I didn't see this coming. He was just like, and my buddy was like, "Hey man, we're gonna have a little, group chat FaceTime." And I never met this guy. I
yeah,
never talked to this dude. So we get on FaceTime one night, and he has like a swastika tattoo on his chest, and he's just there smiling the whole time. And I'm just like nervously, just like, because I never met this guy in my life. I'm just like, when I meet people whatnot, I kind of like, I kind of like get a little nervous and whatnot, kind of have my words all ran together. And I didn't say nothing at the time. And then it's just like when my buddy said something about him saying the N word before we even got on the chat, he said the N word. I didn't even know it. And he said it online, but I took it professional. I didn't say nothing, even get mad at it. I'm just like, just shook my head, and then I kind of hung up the chat. And he was like, "Hey man, what happened?" I was like, "I'm not gonna be associated with somebody
Yeah.
that's racist and is showing his racism and like with this, a whole I think swastika tattoo, tatted on his chest. And that's not who I am. Like I never met this person in my life or not. He was in. My buddy was trying to form a band with this guy. I was just like, he don't even have a license. He don't have a job or anything like that. He worked, but he didn't have a car at the time. He was trying to work and get his license in his car, and I'm not going to pay for instruments. I'm not going to pay, and I'm surely wasn't going to be in a studio with a guy that was putting on saying racial slurs when and they trying to get me all wild up and like, hey, dude, we're a band, and there's no sense in you being racist.
Right.
Racist to me is pointless.
It is, and that's what I was getting at. Like, I never understood racism because me believing in God, it's so. I've seen people that go to church, like different churches, and they love God. They say they love God. They pray to God, but yet they're racist. I've
I don't.
never under, I've never understood that because just because your skin's a different color than mine, God still created you. Like
Exactly.
that makes no sense to me. Like it's never made sense to me. Like we're all God's creation. It doesn't matter what we look like. It doesn't matter what color we are. Like we're all God's creation. So I think racism is such a pointless thing. Like it's ignorant is what it is.
Yeah, man, it's just like you said before. Like I mean, a long time ago, I went to Pizza Hut, and we had first people that come in and eat at the buffet one night. They praise God in church, and then they're so racist after they get out. I just didn't. Never understood it. So why are you judging someone? I mean, I think judging someone is like a sin to judge someone. That's why I never judge anybody if they had, if their beliefs was in Satan, or they didn't believe in God, or they're like a Satanist, or don't believe in God, whatsoever. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to like force. I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna talk about about God to you when I see your opinion, and then if it's like negative when I'm just like, why you gotta be negative? But why can't we have a conversation about about God and Jesus
Yeah.
and and the guy that was say that race was stuck to me, like he kind of contacted me. He was just like, "Hey, man, I just want to holler at you and I'm sorry." And that's all I needed for somebody to just say sorry. I mean, sorry comes a long way. Like, say that me and you get into it at work one night, is that argument, but at the end of the day, I still gonna respect you. And
Yeah.
then I'm gonna apologize to you like a man, like, hey, listen, dude, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for, what I said to you. And I'm sorry for, if I said something wrong out of the blue. And that's another reason. I mean, I never really apologized to you. I wasn't the biggest guy to apologize to people. I always hold that grudge. And like I told my buddy at work, I was just like, he said some few things out of pocket, and I told him I forgive him because, I mean, I do forgive people nowadays,
Yeah.
because I think that right there, I think God wants you to forgive people, not hold grudges against people. Just forgive people and love your enemy and your friend.
Yeah. And another similarity, we had a podcast with a buddy of mine named Charlie the other day, and you brought up your wife. You know,
Mhm.
she prayed for you the whole time through all this. My wife did the same thing, and I think if I remember right, did Charlie's wife do the same thing through his battle with alcohol?
Well, you could tell that she it was hurting her. So
Yeah.
I think that helped him quit was he didn't want to hurt her.
Yeah, I think God placed your wife in your life for that very reason. Like you're meant to be with her, and she was helping you along the way, and you just didn't see it. Like with her relationship with God.
That's absolutely because like I could tell that she was hurting every single day. Like I just like us not communicating, me and my like exception with the Satanists and stuff like that. Like I remember one day she said she when I wrote my story, this is before I got baptized. I did I think Aaron Edwards. This is when we was all in the living room. She's like, take the time and post a story on Facebook, tell somebody. And then after I got baptized, I wrote my testimony on Facebook one night. And one of my buddies said, "Hey man, this is a powerful testimony, man." Like I read it to myself, but I didn't see other people's comments. I had to wake up early. And he called me. He kind of hit me up on Facebook. He's like, "Dude, this is powerful, man. Like, this is really
Right.
powerful."
Yeah.
And and I wanted to get that out there because I was just afraid to call myself a Satan because I was just like I said, I had God in the back seat. And man, at the end of the day, I was scared to call myself a Satanist. I was just like,
Oh yeah.
that's not who I am. You know, it really wasn't who I am. It's just It was like I said, Satan works in the same way. Like Satan works in mysterious ways as well as God. And when he gets into your life or not, and then you start getting more influence to Satan and whatnot, he won't let you go till you destroy yourself, completely destroy yourself.
Right. Uh, did you have anything else, Lee? Any
I'm
questions?
just I'm really glad that I was able to be a part of this
Yeah.
um, and interact with this testimony today. I think it offers a lot of hope that God can do a complete 180
Oh yeah.
in people's
Oh
lives.
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, man. Like, and, when I got home from the hospital, I hugged the old lady and was just like, and told her over the phone when I was in the hospital. I told her over the phone, like, I want to get saved because this is I really meant it because it saved my life. And I want to owe this. I want to owe this to him. Like, hey man, I have not gave up on you at all. I still pray to you every single day, even when I was into the Satan stuff. I still had hope for you. I didn't want to say that you wasn't real, but I just wanted to like keep a hold of you, and I had him in the back seat the whole time, and I was just kind of holding his hand, but I didn't want to let go of his hand in a way. I
Yeah.
just like I can't really let go of this. I can't. I'm not. I know I'm too far gone, but I'm not all the way gone. Because I know
Right.
I still got that faith in God.
Yeah.
There's a
Um.
lot of people out there, and I totally respect them. People that were brought up in the church never really got off track. They're some of the best people we know. But then you have people like us who God had to turn around, and we've got stories
Yeah.
too. But we
Yeah.
offer a certain degree of hope to other people that are struggling, who've gotten off track, or maybe who've never even known God. So I'm
Yeah.
glad we can tell stories like this.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Like I said, I wasn't afraid to be on here and share my testimony. Because you reached out, and I was like, man, it's an honor, to me be on here and share
Yeah.
my story. People are struggling with everyday problems or not. Like I just want to get in touch. If I had like a lot of money, say I'm a millionaire, when I want to put all my money into I think mental health, programs, get people to talk to somebody, and just try to start a foundation with people and just talk to
Yeah.
people about their problems and like, hey, man, what's going on with your daily life? And just some people would be like, well, I pray to God every single day, but he's not like, I'm about to give up on him. But don't give up. I mean, he works in mysterious ways. Just do not give up on him. Don't go to the other side of the cane when just because the simple fact that he's not working out for you. To be
Right.
proud. That's all. Every morning I put on Facebook. I'm a patient man when it comes down to miracles because I really am. I was patient when I was sick, and soon the nurse came in to my room, told me I could go home. That's when I knew whatever. I was like, my prayer's been answered. And I was like one of the happiest guys in that hospital. And I prayed for that a man that was right across from the room from me because he was blind. I prayed for him every single day because he was in pain. He was
Yeah.
screaming in his sleep. He was, and I felt bad for him in a way. I wanted to go over there and talk to him about the time went on, but I couldn't really. I could barely walk because I had surgery on my legs from the
Yeah.
infection. But I still pray for him every day.
Yeah. Yeah. You definitely have an inspirational story, man. And before we close out here, I obviously know where you go to church at. I know about the church, but could you tell us about Lifeline Church, where it's at, to other people that are listening, what they're all about, preachers, just tell us about the church. Maybe somebody would like to go there.
Well, as far as in Princeton, West Virginia, trying to figure out where it's located, but it's in Princeton, West Virginia. Pastor Ron, Ron Fox, man, like, dude, every time he preaches, man, he gets me, man. Like, he knows how to get the crowd going. And I
Yeah.
think, ever since I started to get back in the church, and then when he preaches, so you can have JB, or you can have, like, Ron Parks, or not. I'm just like, if you need to go to church, go to that church, man, because I went from being a Baptist to Pentecostal, man. It feels like you're at home. It
Yeah.
feels like you're welcome, open arms. You go to the because I'm now there was 2 Sundays ago I had my mom with me because she wanted to go to church with me. And she told me at the end of service, she's like, "Man, I like this church, you know, because she's a Baptist, you know, and that's the one that got me in the church. So
Yeah.
I felt like it was right for me to, you know, let her to come to church with me and see how, you know, things were. And I'm about to say I'm 33 years old. I still got some changes in my life, you know. And she told me she wanted to go to church tomorrow on Father's Day because tomorrow's Father's Day, you know. Oh,
We can still hear you. We just can't see you.
oh, okay. Oh yeah, man. Yeah, like she asked me if she want to go to church with me one night, and I told her I was like, yeah, man. You know, she want to go to church with me. I think this Sunday coming up tomorrow. Matter of fact, because she likes the service. I love the service. If you just need to go to church or find a church home, go to a Lifeline. Lifeline, we got church open arms. The people's nice. Pastor Ryan Parksman, he always delivers the word every single Sunday. You know, it inspires me to be like, hey, just don't give up on God.
Right. Yep. Yep. Lifeline is a good church. If everybody's done here, we'll go ahead and close out. It was great hearing this story. I'm sure it'll be an inspiration to some. I know it will be an inspiration to somebody. Somebody's going through that same struggle, and it's just like I said. God really showed you walking the talk in your story, and we really appreciate you sharing it today.
I mean, no problem, big dog.
All right, buddy. We will talk to you later.
All right, man, take it easy, y'all.
You too, buddy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.